Hi, and welcome to another episode of Mindfulness Minutes with Matthew. I'm so glad you could join me today, and thank you again for all the positive feedback and the great stories that you're sharing about how these tools are helping you. One story that my dear friend Joe shared with me is that he had to go through something extra difficult this week on top of everything else that we're all sort of faced with at this time. He had to put his dog Cooper down after 18 years. And I know I've lost a family member like that and a dear friend, and it's one of the hardest things you have to do. But what he shared was that uh, just taking a few moments, taking some breaths and getting himself centered helped him put him in a place where he could find the strength to walk through that and knowing that it was the right thing to do for Cooper. So thanks for sharing that, Joe. And I'm just so glad that this can find a place in your lives and in your practice and be helpful. So one thing I wanted to work on today was taking some of our breathing practice that we've worked on in a previous episode and incorporate that with a counting technique. It's very simple. I'm sure all of you can count from 1 to 5, right? That's all you have to do for this. Remember, you can't do this wrong no matter what happens. It's all perfectly right. So how it works is this. We're going to take a breath in. You can close your eyes if you want. Sit comfortably in a chair. Put your feet flat on the ground if it works for you. And just make yourself comfortable. Take that breath in and count 1. Another breath in. Count 2. Third breath in. Count 3. Fourth breath in. Count 4. And a fifth breath in and count 5. Now when you get to 5, what you want to do is go back to 1. You want to just keep repeating that cycle, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with each breath. And just seeing how long you can stay with that, right? And if you find that you lose count at one point, don't worry about it. Just start again at 1, right? But the idea is to try to get where we can keep focused on that counting and keeping our mind focused on it as we're counting. And as always, as any thoughts that come along while you're doing this, any noises that you hear in the background. Maybe you can hear the rain. Maybe you can hear my family, in this, in our cooped up cabin, making some noises in the background. If those come and distract you for a moment from your counting, it's perfectly fine. Just notice that and go back to counting and keep with your breath. It's a really powerful tool that can help you to stay focused and centered and develop that breathing technique. Right? It's kind of another anchor that we can use to help us stick with our breath. And again, just let every other thing just pass you by. And see what happens. See what happens to your mood, to your focus, to your sense of creativity and flexibility if after you do this for a while. Now there's one more thing I wanted to just bring up today, which is there's been a lot of talk about masks. Everybody is making masks and designing masks and offering masks, and it's being advised in many, depending on where you live in the country, that you wear a mask out in public, right? That it's maybe a good idea. Now, if you have any of those really good masks that are really meant for the folks working in hospitals and on the front lines, I really suggest you offer them to somebody who really needs it. But if you are in a health compromised situation and you need that kind of mask, of course, use that for yourself, or you're living with somebody who's in a health compromised situation. In any case, masks are really great tools. They also can help protect us, right? And whether it's a cloth mask or something you make at home, or just a scarf you wrap around your face, use that for these times. But we wear masks all the time, don't we? Right? You may be wearing a mask if you have children or grandchildren or family members. You may be wearing a mask around them that is a mask of, I think everything's going to be fine, I'm not worried about this, where there may be a part of you inside that has some fear, that has some worry, that has some concern, right? So it's important to wear masks, and it's also important to take your mask off in the right situations. So I just want to invite everyone to consider who the people are, who the family members, friends, who you can take that mask off with at this time, with anything that's bothering you, any concerns you have, and just let them know what's really going on. Because as important it is to stay positive, as important it is to work our way through this in the healthiest way possible and look for silver linings and find the good in all of this. I believe that everything is our teacher. And we can learn from every opportunity that life presents us with, and we can learn a lot from this. And it's also important to recognize when we're worried, when we're scared, when we're in fear, when we're sad, when we're lonely. This is hard, right? I know I miss so many of my friends. I miss so many of my family members. I miss so much right now. This is not how I normally live my life. But at the same time, if I also have those people, we're connecting on Zoom, we're connecting on the phone, on text, any way we can, and we're talking to each other and letting each other know what we need, supporting each other. So find those people in your life, take off the mask, metaphorically, with them, and make sure you do that every day with your practice. Thank you again for your time. This is, I love being of service in this way, and I wish you healthy practice, healthy life, and much presence. Till next time.